Welcome to another episode of the Protein Bros podcast. I am your host, Jeff Wasserman, and with me always is my co-host.
What's up, guys? Kyle Combs.
We are here today with a very special guest. He is a professional fighter with the UFC. He has 28 professional wins, 8 knockouts, 14 submissions, and 6 by decision. He is the top coach in all of the Midwest when it comes to UFC. He's an entrepreneur, real estate investor, crypto fanatic, and an all-around hustler, one of the biggest hometown heroes for Kansas City. We are excited to have you on. This is the James Krause. What's up, man?
How's it going? I'm stoked to be here.
Thanks for coming, dude.
Yeah, man, this is a long overdue.
Absolutely, man. Hey,
and you just started it, right?
That's
yeah,
right.
We just started.
This is our 3rd episode, dude.
So you guys are long overdue, and I'm long overdue for being here.
Yeah,
That's right. We're excited to have you on, man. We got a lot to talk about. You obviously have your hands in a lot of things, so let's get started with something that's really easy because I don't genuinely know this, but what even got you into fighting in the first place? What was your first step that got you to become where you are at today?
Yeah, I think just the interest of like martial arts in general as a kid. You know, I grew up watching all the the martial arts movies like Lionheart. You guys remember Lionheart with Jean-Claude Van Damme?
Absolutely,
yes.
dude.
My mom would get so pissed because I would just rent that every time at the movie store. I would just rent that every week. She's like, "No, you need to get a different one." I was like, "No, this is what I want." So I actually rented UFC 1 in, I guess it would have been 1993. And I rented, UFC 2, 3 because they were available at the movie store. So I would rent those. I was like, man, this is crazy. But I enjoyed it. I watched it, and I was always into wrestling and just, kind of being an aggressive kid, not like crazy or anything. I just like to, I was rough, I guess, rough around the edges.
Who was your first, who were you a fan of though, on that UFC 1 when you watch it? Who were you actually rooting for? I
think the first ever person that I was a fan of would have been, probably Don Fry.
Yeah.
Don Fry had the nice mustache going.
Yeah, dude.
He was
a boxer looking dude.
And then of course, the Ken Shamrock, he was a big deal back then, and then Hoist Gracie. But I either Don Fry or Ken Shamrock was, because we're talking about UFC 1 time.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like
they had like sumo wrestlers in there. It was wild.
Well,
have
actually,
you ever seen that, Jeff?
Yes.
Fred Eddish. I don't know if you guys noticed or not. Fred Eddish was in UFC 1. He's from Blue Springs, Missouri.
Oh, dude, I had no
kidding.
idea. That's amazing. Ken Shamrock was like my guy, dude. Yeah. I was a huge fan of WWF whenever it was called WWF.
Yes, of course.
I mean, Ken Shamrock came on the scene, obviously, like you talked about, he was the ultimate fighting champion. I didn't know what it was yet, and so that really helped me figure out.
World's most dangerous man.
That's right. And he did that ankle lock, and the amount of friends I tried that move on.
Yes. I mean,
growing up because of that.
Dude, correct me if I'm wrong, but in the original UFC, couldn't you do like anything? Couldn't you knee people in the face when they're on the ground? And
yeah, there was only a couple rules, like no eye gouging. You could low blow people. You could hit them in the nuts intentionally.
No kidding.
I don't think you could. I don't think you could pull hair, and I don't think you could like eye gouge. But in terms of like other rules, like you could low blow people. Like I can specifically remember. You guys remember the Austin Powers movies?
Yeah.
Is his name Dawson? I think he's the guy that throws a shoe.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
He was in the UFC.
No kidding.
Yeah. And so there's a video of him. You guys can look it up. There's a video of him. I think he's getting choked or something, or in like a headlock, and he is just like hammering this dude in the balls trying to get out.
Oh my!
And that was completely legal back then.
That's wild.
Yeah,
dude.
it's crazy. It's crazy.
Speaking of low blows, we read somewhere that in your first ever UFC fight, you got hit in the nuts like 3 times.
It would have been my third. It would be my third UFC fight. Yeah.
How did this happen, and how the hell did they not call it?
You can watch it. It's pretty. I mean,
do you not wear a cup?
Yeah, you do.
Okay, but if you get hit hard enough, it doesn't matter.
Or it's like from the back or something.
Yeah. So the cup that I wear now is like, it would be pretty hard to like hurt me. But like the one back then, it just wasn't like it wasn't as big of a deal. So they were kind of loose, and you get caught underneath sometimes, and it would just move a lot. Nowadays they're built better, and it's different, but. I got hit. It would have been like 3 times back to back in less than a minute, and it was, and the last one, the one that stopped me, quote unquote, stopped me. I mean, you can hear it. I mean, you just pull it up on the internet. You can hear it. You can hear the cup just whack, Anyway, I fell, and they called it a TKO from a body kick, but you can just don't take my word for it. Go to YouTube. It's on YouTube.
Jesus,
watch
dude.
it.
James Krause.
It was a kick or was it a punch?
It was a kick, yeah.
I say James Krause kicked in the nuts, and that's what pops up.
Yeah, I'm sure it will. Yeah.
We can search that?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
I'm sure you can.
So, dude, we were talking about, basically what got you into fighting when you were young. We are the same age, right? You're 34?
I'm 35 tomorrow.
35. Oh, happy early birthday, man.
Thanks.
Dude, in high school was like the golden age of when, like, I remember the original, you know, The Ultimate Fighter was on TV. Yeah. And I remember like Forrest Griffin and Stephen Bonner. That was like the peak. Did that, you know, I know eventually you became a contestant on The Ultimate Fighter. Did that play a part in what you wanted to do? Because I know, like, for me, I remember watching that and being like, dude, I want to get into that, you know, and I obviously didn't because I'm a big pussy, but but I always thought that time was so unique, and there were so many good fighters born out of that time. Is that something that like inspired you, or, you know, what was it that specifically got you into like mixed martial arts?
Yeah, so I actually got into it. Gosh, I'm trying to think of what year that would have been. That was just what made it mainstream. That was the first time that it got put on.
It was officially cool.
Were you before that
you know
then?
I mean?
Were you training before that?
I started around that time.
Yeah.
That's not what made me start.
Yeah.
I was around that same time. I think I would have started maybe a little bit after that. It would have been 2006. Would have been when I started fighting, and I started training, and I had my first fight like a week and a half later. So,
no shit.
Were you doing specifically like jiu-jitsu, or were you doing?
No, I started in MMA, which was unheard of back then.
Right.
And but yeah, like I guess the story kind of goes is I had a friend that I wrestled with in high school. When I say wrestled, I sucked at wrestling, so it's not like I just showed up to practice and got beat up. But he was actually good, and he wrestled, and he was fighting. He kept inviting me to, you know, come try this out, blah blah. So anyway, I showed up one day, and he quit that same day. He took a job doing something else, and I called him. He said, "Hey, I took this job. I'm not going." I said, "Well, I'm on my way anyway. I might as well, you know, try it out." And I just showed up, and I loved it, and, you know, fell in love with the sport. There's so many different avenues to win. You know, I was little when I graduated high school. I was 5'8", 155 pounds. So for me, it was good. I was always smaller, so it was good. You know, that weight classes, and I like that you could out athlete people, but I wasn't a great athlete, so you could outsmart people. But, you know, there's just so many different ways to win, and there's so many different disciplines kind of meshed in at once that if one thing isn't working, you can really get smart and try different things to I guess a path to victory, if you will. But it just intrigued me, man. I fell in love with the sport, and I never left. You know,
dude, I gotta know. Did you win that after you've been training for a week?
Yeah. So yes, I did. But it was crazy because so I was actually going to the fights before I started training, and I show up that first day, and one of the coaches there was the guy. My first fight, he had just knocked out my coach. I mean, put like an Xbox logo in his forehead with a knee a month before.
Yeah.
And so, like, I'm terrified this guy coaching me just got murdered by the guy that I'm ready to fight in a week and a half. And it was the Wild West back then. It's, you know, and it was, you showed up to weigh-ins, and it wasn't like it is now. It's like, oh, you're 147, you're 164, you guys can go. It was just way different, you know. And I was fighting almost every weekend at times. You know, I just show up to fights and, hey, we need somebody. Yep, cool, you can jump in. You know,
at the time, were these paid gigs when you were doing these fights? Yeah, it was just straight up.
And there was no amateur and pro. It was just, it wasn't even sanctioned. So like we just went and fought. You know?
Holy crap!
Yeah.
Promoters would put on these fights and just look for fighters.
100%.
Okay.
Yep.
Damn.
Yeah, your partner Zach Cummings obviously was really good friends with him in Springfield, and I went to a couple. He hated me.
Did he? Oh yeah, so we were rival gyms at one point.
Springfield Fight Club was
Springfield Fight Club.
I fought one of his best friends at the time and his teammate Michael Johnson in Springfield.
Oh dude, I worked with Michael too. Yeah, good dude.
I fought him in Springfield.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, did you win?
Yeah.
Oh no, I might have been at that fight.
You probably were, but
like 2008.
Yeah.
Dude,
I had to fight my way back to the locker room because there was like a group of people in the crowd that were just talking mad shit on me, and on my way out, calling me. It's like I still to this day say the craziest crowd I've ever been involved in was Springfield, Missouri.
doesn't surprise us at all.
Yeah. So as soon as I beat Michael, I jumped up on the fence. I found that you can watch the video on YouTube. It's still on there. And I'm looking for this area in the crowd, and I went up and jumped on the cage and I flip them off, and they went ape shit. Like they came after me. It was great. So
dude, that's crazy. You guys both ended up in the UFC.
Yeah.
Including Zach too.
Oh yeah, including Zach.
For context, so Kyle and I are from Springfield, Missouri, or we were working in Springfield, Missouri at the time for like 10 years. And when we first both got there, me and Kyle hadn't even met yet at this time. and Kyle's bouncing at a local club, and with him on the bouncing crew is Zach Cummings and Mike the Menace Johnson. And they're both UFC fighters.
But at the time, like you were talking about, I'd go to their fights. They'd be like, you know, they'd be hustling tickets. They'd be trying to get people to go to the fights, and I'd always go trying to support them. And they were always like in the weirdest places. But, you know, like towards, you know, 2008, 2009, they were getting like a lot of people that were going to those fights.
It was growing. I mean, dude, that's when The Ultimate Fighter was really coming out, coming on strong, and really popularized, you know, MMA. And dude, I'll never forget when Mike Johnson, I worked with him at Cheddar's, dude, the restaurant.
Yes.
And I'll never forget, like, he'd come up to me and he'd be like, hey, dude, you want to go to one of my fights? Dude, they're like $20. Like,
dude, for college, I remember being like, fuck, dude, it's $20.
I'm like, dude, I mean, like, is Eminem going to be there? Like, I'm like, dude, $20. Like, that's a lot of money for me. I was 19 years old, a server at Cheddar's. I'm like, dude, that's like all the money I've made so far in this lunch shift. Like, you're some amateur dude. I don't need to see you. And like, I literally treated it like that. And now obviously I'm the idiot, you know?
No, I mean, this is how it was. I mean, that's how we all were back then. You know what I mean? There's still to this day, there's guys doing that. You know what I mean? You don't know who's going to make it and who's not. It's half the time it's luck of the draw. You know what I mean? Like, there's guys that make it and shouldn't, and there's guys that shouldn't and do. Yeah. You know, and, it's crazy. It just, I mean, there's still guys, you know, peddling tickets, and that's how it is. You know, that's how it is when you're an up and coming.
It's always a hustle.
I think, you know, when you think about like your career, when I look at your career and you think, you know, there's so many things you're good at from like a fighting standpoint. You're a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. You also have obviously the ability to KO people. You've got 8, you know, professional KOs. And then also you just got like the balls to be like, dude, let's go fight anytime, anywhere. You know, 2 fights ago, you move up a weight class. You've been doing it for 15 years. So basically what I'm saying is you're super well-rounded as far as being a fighter. Is that something like you focused on, or is that something that just kind of comes with the territory when you've been doing something for a long time?
No, and I think coming from the group of people that you guys come from, I think that's all in culture. Yeah. Right? Like that's just the culture that I embody. And that's and I coach too. So that's what I preach to my guys, you know? And so whenever these times come up, it's important for me to lead by example. Yeah. And I think that's just the culture that I try to embody, and the culture that I try to, you know, be a part of. And so whenever it comes time to do that stuff, you kind of have to do it, you know? But I don't really do things by accident, you know, like I did take that fight up a weight class on short notice, but there's always something like, I'm not just going to do that to do that. Right. Like I did that because I got a nice shiny new contract out of it. Yeah. You know? So like I'm not just going to go do dumb shit to go do dumb shit. Like there's typically some type of smart play behind it. And I think that's what, that's the difference between myself and a lot of these other guys. Is a lot of these guys just do dumb shit to do dumb shit. Yeah. There's usually a play behind what I'm doing. You know, I'm not going to go get my brains beat in for
sure.
You know,
very calculated.
Like, you seem also more, calculated and thoughtful than a lot of other fighters too, where it's like, you know, you notice that a lot of other fighters are just trying to go swing hands all the time. And I feel like you definitely have you have a plan that you're actually trying to execute. Yeah. What's a call like that? Like when I guess Dana White calls you and is like, "Hey, dude, we need to fill this, and it's happening in 2 days."
Yeah, it wasn't. He didn't call me, and it wasn't 2 days. It was a day, less than a day actually. I was at lunch, and I just offered. I heard the guy pulled out of the fight, and I said, "You know, I'll take that fight." And in my head, I was like, I didn't ever even think it was going to be a thing. Like typically they'd be like, "No, there's no way that's happening." But it came to reality really quick, and I was like, okay, cool. Well, if this is a real thing, this is what I need to get paid. And it was a weird deal because it went from, they were wanting me to do it on my initial contract. And I was like, you guys go get another sucker. Like go get some young kid to do that. I ain't the one. And, I think they found out real quick that nobody else was going to do that, you know? So it went from like the contract got to where I wanted it to be. And like, that, you know, it was quick, really quick. So, that's just where I needed to be on it in order for me to make sense. And, you know, I pretty much doubled my contract, my previous contract. I pretty much doubled it. And, I've only fought once or twice since then, but to me, it was just, you know, it's nice to have that, you know, make some real money.
Yeah, dude. I feel
like
win
or lose, you're making a good paycheck.
Yeah. Yeah. And I knew that if we had a decent fight at all, that I would get some kind of bonus for it too.
Yeah.
So you talk about you had a fight since, you know, that last fight was in Dubai, right? during the shutdown, and we can get into COVID a little bit, but I just want to know, like, what's a fight like? You fought all over the country. I remember you did that fight in Chile.
Right. Zach fought in Chile. I went with him, but he fought there.
You went out to Chile,
Brazil, though, haven't you?
I fought in Brazil.
Yeah,
and it's just like, where's your favorite country to fight in so far, and just what makes them all different?
I hate fighting anywhere outside of the U.S. because the travel and everything makes so much harder to cut weight. Like in Abu Dhabi, I fought at 3:30 in the morning.
Jesus.
Oh, dude, I remember you telling me that.
So it was 3:30 a.m. to make for the time here. So you guys were a normal time here.
Yeah.
But my flight there was 3:30 a.m. So like I was going to bed at like 8 a.m. every day. It's a 16-hour flight. I think it's like a 9-hour time change or a 12-hour. It's something. It's like the exact opposite of what you guys are on. So it was really hard. You know what I mean? Like you have to perform after doing that travel and lack of sleep, and of course the guy you're fighting is going through the same stuff, but it's still, man, like there's so many little X factors that go into play with all this that you got to be able to perform at a peak level, and it's hard that if you can't get enough sleep or whatever. So it was 3:30 a.m. when I fought in Abu Dhabi, so that was not easy at all. But I did Brazil. It's just the travel makes it harder. Makes it way harder.
How do you think the UFC handled COVID?
Well, they were pretty much the only sport up and running. I mean, I guess that's all depending on what your stance is.
I'm like watching cornhole tournaments during the week.
When I heard UFC was coming back, I was like, fuck yeah, dude.
Yes.
Some kind of
Fight Island was a thing,
Some kind of like athletics. I got to watch something that's
I think that's just like your opinion on what you think of COVID. If you're really big on it and you thought it was a great thing, then you probably hate the fact that they were doing shows. But I personally enjoyed it. I really enjoyed seeing my sport thrive throughout all of it. Yeah. And it was good to see, live events still, even though there wasn't a crowd. But man, I'm a fan. What can I say? Yeah. It's regardless of what my opinion on COVID is, I really enjoyed watching MMA thrive through all of it. They were putting on shows regularly, and I'm proud to say that I'm a part of that sport that was kind of set themselves apart from everybody else. Yeah. And did it safely, I might add.
For sure. They killed it on that. Yeah. And to transition to that, dude, you mentioned, the growth of the sport. How has that impacted your business? You've got 3 gyms you got hands in here locally, right? Yeah. Tell us about those. What's the name and everything?
Glory MMA and Fitness. We have one out of Lee Summit, one out of Overland Park, and one out of North Kansas City. And it's pretty much like a 30, 45-minute triangle that we kind of have locked. But yeah, I don't want to say like it thrived through it, but we stayed open. We stayed open quite a bit, even in times we weren't supposed to be open. But it's such a weird time, right? Because people are freaking out. They don't know how to deal with it. They don't, it's a weird time.
It's about as contact sport as there is.
Yeah. I mean, you can't.
You're breathing in people's mouths, basically.
Yes. I mean, but like I said, we stayed open through the majority of it. And it never got to a point where, we were like in risk of losing the business or anything like that. But it definitely hit us hard. I think it hit everybody hard to some degree. People just weren't getting out. But we did everything that we could to even at times where we were shut down. I think we shut down for a couple months, and we were doing online stuff, even though that's really difficult to do. But we made it through. We have a really good culture in our circle, and it was good, man. Everybody supported us, and
super recognizable too, man. Your guys' culture is phenomenal. I remember
thank you.
The grand opening of the North KC location. And dude, it was like a potluck. I've never seen so much good food in my life.
Yeah.
It was wild how many people showed up. Oh yeah.
Everybody seems to get behind stuff like that. We don't do a ton of that, like the get-togethers, but when we do, man, they're big.
People show out for real.
What's so when it comes to your gym business, what's on your vision board for that? What's the future of that look like?
It's a little different. I mean, there's so many different avenues for it. Like the gym does great. And from a business and like a casual member perspective, it does really well. So obviously, the goal there is just to continue to grow. I feel like the building that we're at now can suffice 500 members out of the Lee Summit location alone.
Yeah, that's
Overland
awesome.
Park is already
that's your biggest club though, right?
That's the biggest one. Yeah. Lee Summit's the biggest one. Overland Park is already talking about expanding. We haven't even been open. I think we just hit 1 year. Actually, I think it was yesterday.
That's awesome.
So. And then North KC has already expanded once, so we're from the casual member side. It's been great. For me, the biggest transition would be just building the fight team and expanding on that a little bit more. And
for our listeners that are casual on MMA, like what's a fight team consist of?
Yeah, so just like the guys that are competing at a fairly high level, you know, not even a high level, amateur or pro, they're fighting, they're on a strict schedule, and they're trying to make it to UFC, Bellator, PFL, one of the big organizations. Like that's
making a living being a fighter.
Correct.
Period.
Yes, making a living. Yeah, exactly.
How many people do you coach right now that are kind of in that discussion?
I would say our fight team is probably 35 people, and I personally work individually with 19 on a weekly basis, and then there's quite a few that come in and out of town.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Some of the top UFC people. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Who are you most excited about in that stable right now? Because I know you could be excited about a lot of them, but who in your mind is like this is the guy that I know is going to be a good future star?
Or girl.
Yeah. That's such a tough one because we have the guys that are established that have been in there. Like the one that comes to mind is Grant Dawson. He's been with me for I think 17 fights. I think he's 16-1 with me, and he's 5-0 in the UFC. He's right at the top 15 in the world in his weight class right now. But he's established. He's been with me for quite a while, 6 years. You know,
that's awesome.
Something like that, maybe even longer now. But as far as like freshman class guys that are just getting in there, getting in the mix, a kid named Jeff Molina is really exciting.
Yeah, dude, I met him. He's a super nice guy.
Oh man, he's a buzzsaw out there. If you guys watch him,
I saw that he had like the most connected punches or something like that in like UFC history in his first fight.
He's a fucking animal. For a little dude,
you can cuss on here by the way all you want.
Oh, I did.
Yeah. You keep doing it too. You're cool.
He's a buzzsaw, man. He's so fun to watch. Little guy, 125er, but good God, he can get after people, and he's fun to watch. And then we have some guys that aren't even in the UFC, like David Onama. He's creeping on there. I think he'll be on Contender Series this year, and he's a stud too. But we have so many. Like we have guys that are almost there. We have guys that are there, and you know it's. I mean, I think we have 12 or 13 in the UFC right now.
That's incredible, man.
That is incredible, dude.
And you're not going to get that. I don't think you're going to go. You're looking at 8 to 10 hours any direction to find another gym doing that. Like Denver, Milwaukee, Chicago, maybe Dallas.
Who's who has to travel the farthest to get to you as far as coaching goes right now?
James Gallagher just came from Dublin.
That's incredible, dude.
Dude.
And so is that the side of the business that you're trying to grow the most right now? Is that where your focus has been?
Me personally, yes.
Awesome.
Yes. I mean, other people are focused on other avenues, but for me personally, growing that aspect of the business is yes.
What's the goal with that?
It's really hard to quantify a goal with that. That's the problem, right?
Yeah.
Like you can't really say, oh, I mean,
you want to have this many, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
you probably just want to coach a world champion.
That's exactly right. At some point I want to coach a world champion.
Yeah. Yep. Well, it sounds like you're pretty close on your way there.
I mean, we have some good guys there. There's no doubt about that. And I'm young in the coaching game. I'm extremely young. All these guys have been doing this way longer than me. So it's fun to be in that conversation with some of the guys that I grew up, respecting quite a bit. And it's good.
When do you feel like your passion, as far as do you feel like your coaching passion has taken over the same amount of passion that you had to be the best fighter you've been?
That's the thing. I've never really cared about being a champion fighting. Like I've never said I want to have a world title or the top 15. I've never cared about that ever.
So the passion to be the best coach, when did that start to really take on as far as like that's where you're at?
Probably 5 years ago. I got off the Ultimate Fighter competing on it as a fighter. And for whatever reason, something clicked and I just started organizing stuff and I kind of just took it and ran with it. And from then on, it was just like I was so busy I don't want to say I'm so busy, but I really enjoy helping others. So like I feel like that I put these guys first because I've had a good career. If I never fight again, I'll be good with it. But like these other guys, like it's not fair to them when they're just getting started for me to, be selfish and me fight whenever I say, hey, I'm coaching you, but hold on, you got to take 2 months off because I'm going to train myself. And you know what I mean? Like, it's not fair to them. So I typically schedule fights around my fighters not having fights. And that's why you see me take short notice fights lately is because I'm just like, oh, cool. Like I'm here, I'll do it. Or
I can make some quick money too.
Yeah. Or the Abu Dhabi thing, that was 12 days notice. So my last 2 fights have been, the last time I had a camp was, it would have been October or November of 19. The last time I had a training camp for a fight.
So like for us in the business we have, the most rewarded I ever feel is watching like somebody who's underneath me or who is like bled, you know, for the cause that we're after be successful. And I'm guessing that it's very similar when you have, it's probably that times 10 when you have a fighter and you're working with them for so long and then they see that's for me, like, you know, you always think of when you think of success, you think, oh, it's going to be if I get to buy this or if I get, you know, but then you get into it and you're like, dude, it's actually when my guy gets to buy this, that's the best feeling.
Yeah.
Having a true successor.
Yeah. 100%. And what I love about fighting is, and I mean, there's levels to this and everything, but what I love about fighting is there's after somebody wins, there's like a rawness and a realness that you guys remember Batman, The Dark Knight Rises, where the Joker tells him, he's like, just before I killed these people or whatever, I seen their true colors. So so technically I know them better than you do, or I'm closer to them. And that's kind of true. And I don't mean like when you're killing somebody, but like the moments after somebody wins a fight, win or lose, like you see these moments of just complete raw, like it's just raw. And there, I do believe that there's a moment where the fight, if you guys watch Kevin Croom's UFC debut, which is crazy in itself, he went up a weight class, took it on like 3 days notice, and he beat a really good prospect, and like there's a moment where him and I just look at each other for like 20 seconds, and it's just like his parents, his girlfriend, none of them will experience that, because by the time they get to him, the moment's gone. It's died down. It's still high, but it's died down.
They just They just certainly don't get it like you get it. As far
fighting
as like what he was
general,
going through in that moment, you know what I'm saying? He's looking at you.
It's raw.
It's just like, dude,
we fucking did it. We're here. Yeah, we're here. Finally, we're here.
Right.
You know?
Fighting is so like, primal, dude. It's so 100%. Much like, you know, I did grow up wrestling, and you know, when you go into a wrestling match, there's nobody else to rely on. It's basically just you and another dude out there. And when you lose, you feel like shit because you got no one to look at besides yourself.
It's the end of the line.
Yeah.
Right? Like, so like where we say this, like Jeff and I can go back and forth. I'd be like, okay, well, I'm faster than you, Jeff. Well, I'm stronger than you. Well, I have a nicer car than you, and your house is better than mine and this. But it ends with, I'll beat you up. Yeah. There's no, it doesn't, I have more like, well, I'll still beat you up.
I'll still beat you up.
And it doesn't, it stops there. You know what I mean? There's nothing past that, because like you said, it's so primal, and it's not like losing a basketball game where like, oh, you beat me, I'm lost. Like, I beat you up. There's a difference. You know what I mean? Like I can kill you if I wanted to. Yeah. You know, and that's kind of like the end of the road. And there's something, I don't know if that's weird or what, but there's something that excites me.
No, I just think that, I think it's probably with fighting, and obviously I haven't fought, but the higher highs and the lower lows.
Oh,
I'm guessing when you lose, it's like, fuck. And then when you win, it's like you were just saying, you're kind of in this moment where it's like undescribable.
Yeah, 100%. And you're right. It is the highest highs and the lowest lows.
Was his, was Kevin Croom's first fight, was that a knockout, or was it,
so he dropped him and then choked him in like 30 seconds. Wow. So over a really good prospect. If you get time, sometime, pull it up. It's a great.
Because I was just gonna say, like, that moment when it's just like undisputed.
You'll know exactly what I'm talking. Like, we're just looking at each other. It's kind of awkward watching it back, but it's like in the moment it felt like 2 minutes. Right. Yeah. And it's like we're talking without saying a word. You know, like this is
So Grant's last fight,
I was about to
when
say,
he had that last second knockout, he literally did it with like fucking a second left in the fight. Yeah. And you were like, you got to knock this motherfucker out.
Yeah, that was the coolest clip I've ever seen.
Yeah, they killed it on that. And like, was that the same kind of raw emotion where you're like, you fucking did it, or were you just just shocked, like, whoa?
No, because I was actually pissed off at Grant, because he just it's different. It was more frustration because.
As a coach.
Yeah. Obviously I'm super stoked for him because he knocked out a guy that hadn't been beaten in like 16 years. And that's not an exaggeration. I think it's either 14 or 16 years. Hadn't lost. I think the last time that dude lost a fight, Grant was like 11 years old or something.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah. It was something crazy. That was more frustration just because it was such a close fight, and we could have been doing more. You know, Kevin's deal was a little different just because he's had a real long road. He made a lot of dumbass decisions early, and you know, he came to me and basically was like, man, like I don't know what else to do. I need your help. And I said, all right, well, stick with me and we'll get it. And you know, he did and trusted me, and it didn't always, you know, sometimes zigged when we should have zagged, and ups and downs, you know, but we got him there, and you know, nobody can take that from him. No matter what happens now, he's got to win in the UFC, and nobody can take that from him.
That's incredible, dude. I want to transition to getting you into investing in cryptocurrency and, you know, real estate. Like, dude, half the stuff we talk about all the time, you know, when you're on your Instagram example, like you talk more about investing, I think, right now than MMA.
I do, because I'm passionate about it. Because I mean, a lot of these guys that fight, I mean, shit, it's not just fighting; it's professional athletics in general. These guys just don't set themselves up. So it's like, what are we doing this for? Like, like I see these guys retire all the time, and it's not because they want to; it's because they have to. Their brains are shot or whatever, and or their age is caught up to them, or whatever it is, and they just don't have anything to show for it. And it's like, man, what did you do all this for all those years? And it's just, it saddens me to see that. So I had like a little, I'm gonna say a midlife crisis, but at 30 years old, like I had a moment where I was like, shit, like I don't have an asset to my name. How am I gonna retire? How am I gonna set my kids up? Like, I freaked out, and I said, I don't know what I'm going to do. And for me, it was all about my kids, because I really didn't give a shit about me. It was more about my kids. Like, I want my kids to be set up, to where obviously I want them to earn and make their own living and all that stuff. But I think there's something about, for people listening, I think they'll agree with this, like just being a parent and just making sure that no matter what happens, your kids are going to be taken care of. You know what I mean? Whether they can take care of themselves or not, I think it's our duty as a parent to be able to, we always want to take care of our kids. This is your job as a parent to do. Right. Provide. Exactly. Right. So, that was kind of my thing. And, I had to just like shift the way I thought about things. And I kind of got obsessed with, how to make money while also creating a future. And it just seemed to me, I think it's like 90-something% of all millionaires are, in real estate in some form. And that was my aunt, who I look up to greatly. She was a lead partner at a company called PricewaterhouseCoopers. You guys know that? Oh yeah. She did really well. And, she's big into real estate, and, she preached it to me. And
is she local to here as well?
No. She's Virginia and Florida now. I
didn't know Pricewaterhouse was here.
No, she's Florida now. But, and so I just obsessed over that and I got to watching videos like Grant Cardone and some of these other guys. The Bigger Pockets podcast
10X,
was
another 10X book.
Yeah, well, I read all his books and it just, I started doing stuff like that. Like, how do I set myself up? And once you understand it, I think it's like, I read this. I've read this a couple times. It's an Instagram post of one of the guys I follow. He's actually kind of a financial dude. But it says, imagine playing the game of Monopoly and never buying a property. You just go through life and collect the $200 and I was like, fuck, that's
a good point.
That's real.
Yeah.
Like, can you imagine?
That's what most people do.
Can you imagine winning the game of Monopoly without buying any property? It's impossible. Yeah. Like, if anybody listening knows how to win the game of Monopoly, there's 26 properties that you can buy. So you literally buy every single property you can. You control the board and you can't lose. That's how you win. You just buy every single property that you
possibly can.
Yeah, just look it up. It's not my opinion. Look it up on Google. Every property you land on, you buy it.
Yeah.
And then you start putting hotels on it, because there's only 26 properties. Now, I know in real life it's a little different because there's an abundance of property, but that's how you win at life. You can't just go through and collect that $200, pass and go or whatever, And it's like, fuck, that's kind of what happened to me. I was like, I'm pass and go. You know what I mean? Like, this is what I'm doing.
Well, dude, the thing is like you get, when you're a young dude and you're coming up, you probably got your first contract with the UFC and you're like, fuck, dude, this is way more money than I've ever made.
Yeah.
This is
and
awesome.
I grew up poor as shit too.
Yeah. So, dude, and that probably made it even like that much crazier. You're 100%. Like, dude, I feel like this contract, I'm rich now. And this is most UFC, actually, this is most professional athletes in general. They go burn through that money and they don't realize, like you were saying, you're going to get hit in the head. You're going to get, some kind of injury and you're not going to be able to perform at your sport anymore. And then what are you going to do?
Yeah.
So being able to delay that gratification and take the money that you're making at your primary job and put it into something that's going to continue to create revenue for you long term, I feel like that's probably something that was easy for you to do, considering you have the ability to delay gratification with your training, and you know, understand that things take a long time.
Yep.
It's not going to happen overnight. And that's like the name of the game in investing.
I would like to tell you that you're right in assuming that, but you're not. You're wrong. I fought for Bellator before, and I got like a $10,000 check, and I completely fucking blew it. I remember.
Let's hear it. Yeah. What's the big dumbass thing?
I want to know what you bought, dude.
Yeah, 100%.
I looked at. It's funny, and this is what makes it even worse. Is I looked. I remember looking at my account, and thinking like, where the fuck did this money go? I ate it.
Oh, you just went out to eat?
Yeah.
Oh,
I didn't have
God.
anything. I didn't buy anything.
Yeah.
So you asked me what I bought? Food.
That's the worst because now you don't even have anything. Like if you buy something dumb, you're like, well, I did get that dumb thing. Yeah. But if you go out to eat and like have experiences, you're like, shit, I don't have anything to show for.
Yeah, I bought food with it. And then that made me sick to my stomach. So whenever,
literally and figuratively.
Yes, yes. So when I got into the UFC, and I got so lucky, my UFC debut, I double bonused, which is like only a few people have done that. So it's like two $50,000 bonuses.
You were fight of the night and what else?
Submission of the night.
Nice.
Oh, so wow. I got that money and I was like, I'm holding like what I have to. It was a turning point in my life.
Life-changing amount of money.
Yes. It's like, what do I do right now to change my life? And I bought the gym.
Yeah.
I ended up buying the gym and grew it obviously, and then that money produced more money, and then I invested more at that and that, you know, and then.
So we want to talk about some savvy for our listeners. You know, this is the real basis of our podcast is, you know, MMA is an extension of fitness, and we have so many people that love fitness and what it's done for them, et cetera. And then they think to themselves, you know, like, dude, I love this. I love this way. It makes this way, the way that fitness makes me feel. I want to turn this into a living. And so many people join the fitness industry and they just cannot last longer than a year or two. And so the real basis of our podcast was to bring really successful people who've turned their passion for fitness in some way, shape, or form into you know, a really, really, really big income for themselves long term. Yeah. And so like we want to talk to people that have been doing it for a minimum 5 years and have done it at a high level. Yep. And so that's why we want to talk to you. So let's talk about maybe your most business savvy decision you feel like. You know, you were getting into a little bit of this before we started recording. What's like a really savvy thing that you can do that most people don't think of?
Well, first, before we get into like my most savvy move, I think people, just because you have a skill doesn't mean that you should sell that skill. Just because you're good at a sport doesn't mean that you can run a business in that sport. So not only am I passionate about the sport of MMA, but I'm also passionate about business, and that's where the disconnect is. I feel like
two very different things.
It's very different things. Like the MMA business and MMA sport are two entirely different entities. So you have to be able to the people that are doing a really good job are experts at both, and you can't obsess over one without obsessing over the other if you want to be successful, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. There's always anomalies and exceptions to the rule, but for the most part, I do feel like that you have to understand business to complement the skill. As far as like the most savvy thing, and I don't even think this is savvy, but I'm amazed by the amount of people that haven't taken advantage of the SBA loans right now.
Small business loans, right?
Yeah, yeah, small business loans. And if you call them and you ask them, they'll say, because I did the
who is them?
The SBA. So I did the PPP loan for the gym. Everybody with a business should have, right?
Yeah,
I mean, it's government money to help aid being shut down. I mean, it's, everybody should be doing it. But if you call the SBA and you ask them for the actual EIDL loan, they will say, if you accepted the PPP money, that you aren't eligible for that. Mm-hmm. That's actually not true. If you can file what's called reconsideration, and that's all I did. I called and filed for reconsideration, and they just gave me $500,000, $500,000, 3.75% interest rate over 30 years.
It's like taking out a mortgage.
Yes, and payments deferred for 18 months.
Oh, no kidding! That's awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
That is wild.
And I've told a couple people this, and they're like, "Yeah, but you still have to pay it back." Like, yeah, but what you guys don't understand right now is the interest rates and inflation. Like, we'll never see rates like this ever again in our lifetime.
Yeah, yeah. It's basically free money.
It's fucking free money.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, like, if I said, "Hey, I'll give you $500,000 right now," at 3.75%, I was like, "Wait, what?"
Did you see the government's going to stop buying bonds too? I just saw. So interest rates are going to start creeping back up.
If you guys have money in savings, you're losing money. Like inflation rate is, they're saying it's what 2.9% this year, which is complete bullshit. It's
total
way
joke.
more than that.
Total joke.
It's way more than that. It's way more than that. And your savings account, if you're lucky, I literally went. This is a true story. I can attest to this. I went to a bank yesterday and I tried to open up a money. I did open up a money market account. I just refied my house and it's not escrowed. So I have to put an account separate and put money aside every month. So I said, what's, just humor me. What's the interest rate? It's 0.01. So
it's theft.
Inflation is 2.9%, which is bullshit. It's way more than that. So by simple math, inflation, you're losing 1.9% minimum if your money's sitting in savings every year.
Yeah.
So
I love you're savvy enough that you didn't escrow your house. We didn't either. We put that money aside because you save money long term.
100%. 100% you do. Yeah.
You just got to be more organized with your shit.
You do.
Yeah.
Thanks for talking to me, guys. I fucking escrowed my house.
Well, you had already done it by the time you were like, I was like, hey, are you going to do that? And you had told me you'd already done it. So I was like, oh. You also don't have a wife like mine to keep it, organized.
It's not
a hard
big,
thing to do, honestly. It's
but
just
it's
you got to put
problem.
money aside, and it's also you don't save a ton. But
yeah, it's not a big deal. But for me, I refied my house through the bank, and the bank that I use got me such a good rate. But the problem is they just don't escrow. So, I mean, and they just got me such a good rate. I couldn't say no. I wanted escrowed, but I'm going to go take a worse rate. You know what I mean? Like,
it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. So I just got a great rate. But the bank that I did business with just doesn't escrow. So, and I already, you do save a little bit of money. For me, the money that you save isn't worth the hassle, but the rate that I was going to get was. So, but yeah, 3.75 on $500,000, that you'll never ever see that again in our lifetimes, in my opinion.
Yeah. And so what are you doing? Sorry to cut you off.
You're good.
What I was going to ask, and since we're talking about inflation, I know you're invested in crypto. What are you doing? Is that your main hedge against inflation?
It's a large hedge against inflation. I do a little bit of everything. I do a little bit of crypto, a lot of crypto. I do a lot of crypto. I do a little bit in stocks, and then I have quite a bit in real estate. Yeah, real estate's the big one. For me. That's my hedge against inflation. And what I love about real estate, especially like every property I own is in Lee Summit. Yeah. And the appreciation in Lee Summit is absolutely absurd. Yeah. Like the amount that it's grown is crazy. What is that? What are you showing me? What is this?
A stock you told me about, AIKI, is now at $1.18.
Let's go. Nice. Let's go.
That's exciting.
Heck yeah. We as it started, I think it was at $1.13 when we just started this 30 minutes ago.
Heck yeah.
So its resistance was
that's $1.15. Yeah, so we're good.
Yeah. So
making money during this podcast.
Are you so when we talk about crypto, or I mean we were talking about real estate, but as far as crypto goes, so I own Ethereum. That's like the main crypto that I own. What's your favorite? Are you a Bitcoin guy or Ethereum?
Yeah, so
smaller coins.
I don't know. Do you know? Before I answer your question, have you looked into being a validator for?
Not at all.
Ethereum? Oh, bro.
Let's hear about what a validator is.
I don't even know what that is.
I'm pretty sure it's called a validator.
Please, is that like a miner?
Well,
for like
we won't
Bitcoin?
quote you on the name, but you know what it is.
Yes. So essentially, kind of. Yeah. So it's on the Ethereum 2.0, and I am not an expert in this. So I'm going to do the asterisk. This is not financial advice, but I'm 98% certain I'm pretty spot on with this. I think it's called a validator. Once you get, I don't know how much you have, but I believe it's 33 Ethereum that you can become a validator. And it's essentially your network is used to complete transactions. And I believe you get around 10%
of the
for doing that. So if you have X amount of Ethereum, you can become a validator, which then gets you more Ethereum. It's like,
do you own 33 Ethereum?
No, I don't.
I'm like, that's a lot of money, dude.
I don't. I'm more of a Bitcoin guy. The majority of my stuff is in Bitcoin, but I have some of the smaller, like I'm really big on ADA. Yeah. And I like Matic. I like Matic a lot. And then there's HBAR is a longer term one.
Talk to us about the MMA on crypto.
Yeah, and I'm on the board of advisors for a crypto. It's called MMA on, and it is much, much larger across the pond than it is here. But they're just now starting to get on some of the bigger exchanges. And it's a pretty cool concept. I mean, it's, a long story short, it lets the fans like essentially matchmake or give their opinion towards matchmaking. They're able to buy gear. They're able to support fighters through this crypto exchange, and it's ran off the Ethereum network. So see,
that's what's been so appealing to me about Ethereum and why I put more money into it is I feel like it's multi-use.
100% it is.
You know,
it's the network.
Yeah,
it's the network.
100% that it creates. Yeah. But I think Bitcoin, I mean, obviously Bitcoin's going back up.
Yeah, like listen, I can't tell you how much I believe in Bitcoin, especially what are they injecting another $6 trillion? Like we're fucked from an economy standpoint. And if you guys don't think that, like for anybody listening, if you guys don't understand what's coming economically, like I don't watch the news. I don't watch politics. I don't get into any of that bullshit.
Yeah.
But if you guys don't understand what's coming from an economic standpoint, you are so far behind and it's going to be bad really fucking soon.
Yeah, yeah.
And I can't, like you guys, you can kind of tell my voice and my posture change on it. Like I'm extremely passionate about this from an inflation standpoint, from an economic standpoint. They're putting way too much fucking money into the economy. Yeah. We're going to be fucked.
Ruining the US dollar, essentially.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, and this is like, I feel like people have a hard time making the connection, right?
Yeah.
So this connection right here, this happened to me recently and it was like, fuck this. It was such an eye opener for me. My first job ever, I made $5.25 an hour. And that was,
minimum wage.
Yes. Minimum wage. At the time it was minimum wage. Yes. And so my sister is 18 years younger than me. She just started her first job and she makes, I think, $12.25.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, so your value's gone down a half, basically.
Yeah.
The value
more.
Of a dollar
The value of a dollar has more than cut in half in 18 years.
Yeah.
I mean, what the fuck are we doing?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, so that tells me, don't bet on the dollar. Don't bet on the U.S. government to do it. So if I don't want to stay at a hotel, if I don't believe in hotels, I'm going to go stay at an Airbnb.
Yeah, yeah.
If I don't believe in taxis, I'm going to go take an Uber.
Yeah.
If I don't believe in the U.S. dollar, I'm going to crypto.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and that's just kind of how...
Do you worry about more and more company or more and more countries doing what China just did and banning Bitcoin?
You know what else China's banned?
Made it hit the
yeah.
What else they banned?
Netflix, Facebook.
Oh yeah, I mean
YouTube.
Yeah,
Those companies are doing okay.
Yeah, they're doing all right.
We'll be fine.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that you know, at some point you have to. It's almost like gold or silver. Yeah. You have to hedge against what's going to happen to the U.S. dollar.
100%. And anytime that that's the whole thing with Bitcoin. For me, I know you have to understand. Whenever China said that, hey, we're putting a stop to this, the consumer market freaked out.
Yeah,
and that's why we see the big dip.
Yeah,
but from a sharp perspective, from the people that actually know what the fuck is going on. They don't just have Bitcoin. They don't even understand what Bitcoin is. Somebody told them, hey, put money in Bitcoin, and they do.
Yeah.
Those guys pulled their money then.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
The people that understand what's happening, they're like, oh shit, this is great because it is creating scarcity.
Yeah.
We can buy more at a cheaper price. And whenever this hits the cap, right? Like because there's only 21 million. Whenever this hits the cap, I'm going to have more for less. And that's what I thought. Because it's going to go back up. Listen, you can't keep injecting money into the economy and it not devalue the dollar even more. So if the US dollar is going to be devalued, there's something's got to, like, for every action there's an equal and opposite reaction. Like, so if that goes down, crypto's going up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and I'll be honest with you guys, I don't think we're at the worst of it yet. I see it hitting in the 20s. I think we're probably 2 or 3 years away from a financial issue, like as far as the economy,
a genuine crisis.
No, I agree. I agree.
Yeah.
It's not happening like right now, but I think Bitcoin will drop into the 20s and you'll see that big sell off.
Yeah.
And then I think the whales are coming back in hard. You can't stop it. Now with how many people are accepting Bitcoin, the social proof that it's gotten, the big companies getting behind, it's not going anywhere.
Oh yeah.
No. You can't stop it anymore.
No.
You know, and you can't stop the internet. So for the companies that, I mean, if you're in China, put on a fucking VPN.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you can't stop it. It's coming. You know what I mean? It's just prolong the inevitable.
Yeah.
When it comes to crypto, though, obviously there's some horror stories too. Have you had one of those? Like, I think we all have one. Speaking of being a validator, right, for Ethereum, last year I bought 10 grand in Ethereum and sold it a month later. I would have had 56 Ethereum right now. So I could have been a validator by a long shot.
Sore subject.
Yeah. So I sold mine and made like $2 grand, but right now it would have made me like 200 grand.
I think Ethereum's at
over 3,000.
I think it's 3,900 right now.
I bought mine.
Is it not?
No. 2,900 maybe.
2,900.
It was at its peak over $4 grand.
Yes, it was. It hit over 4,000. Yes.
And I bought mine at $178, and I bought 10 grand worth at that.
I bought quite a bit. I didn't buy quite that many, but I bought in a couple $100 range as well. I sold them though. I everything that I have is in Bitcoin.
I'm with you. So now it's all Bitcoin, and you have some I guess some equity in the MMA on.
I have
as well.
Fuck ton. It's as cool as I'm considered a whale in the MMA on.
I love it.
Oh, no kidding.
Yes.
That's awesome, dude.
When it comes to like what you'd invest in now, those are the ones you like the most. So we'll name that off again for our listeners to look up.
Bitcoin is my biggest play, and that's. I like Bitcoin and I like Ethereum a lot too. I wish I would have stayed in it, but I sold it all to go into Bitcoin. I just believe in it. You know what I mean? No matter what happens, I don't see it. I don't see Bitcoin or Ethereum going anywhere.
Yeah.
The other ones, the smaller ones I'm in, my favorite one of the smaller ones is ADA, Cardano. I like that one a lot. There's one called HBAR, HBAR. It's way longer term. It's not anything crazy right now, but it's way longer term. I like that a lot. Matic is another one that I'm really big on. I bought some the other day and it literally went up 98% the next day.
Incredible.
Yeah. It was amazing.
With your knowledge, what makes you steer away from, internet ones like Dogecoin making such a huge play right now? I mean, so many retail investors getting into that. And so just what makes you not want to jump in?
I try to stay so far away from those, like the GameStops, the AMCs, the Dogecoins, and especially with Dogecoin, it's just so hard. You're playing a roulette game at that point.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like when's it getting shorted? You know what I mean? Like with the stocks, like when are they going to short it? When are they? You know what I mean? Like I don't know. I'm not smart enough to know, and I'm not going to pretend like I am. So I just kind of back up, and I want to be a part of the group that I can predict what is going to happen.
Yeah, you believe in the brand. It's like, if I'm investing in GameStop, it's because I believe in the brand, and we both know GameStop's going.
Correct.
Correct.
And so
lasting.
Did you see what AMC did yesterday?
It's fucking nuts,
dude. They sold 20 million shares at the peak, which is smart for them from a business standpoint. But God, if you
doing an offering on a movie theater is absolutely like ballsy.
Yeah. But as far as Dogecoin goes, like, with crypto, I don't look at the actual crypto. I don't care about it. I don't have anything. Like, I look at the technology behind it. Like, what is that doing? How is that going to impact my life 5-10 years from now? Mm-hmm. And I can see Bitcoin or Ethereum having, especially Ethereum, like having a major impact on the way things are done, right? Yeah. Like Cardano, like a lot of these, you have to understand what these cryptos are doing, why they're created. Dogecoin is not, it's nothing. It's not a fucking, you know what I mean? Like it's a
meme stock.
It's a pump. Yeah, it's a meme stock. It's nothing. So when you enter in those, and I have a group of kids at my gym, like, oh, I made a couple grand. I'm telling you guys, sell that shit. Like, and I'm not saying you can't make money on them, but when you enter in that game, just as high as they go up, they can go right back down. And you're playing the roulette game at that point. And for me, I just don't like doing it. If I have like an extra $1,000 or something like that, maybe throw it in there. You know what I mean? Like just see if it hits or whatever.
Yeah,
it's playing the lottery in your head.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, it's going to the casino.
Put it on black. You know what I mean? Like, and that's, I'm with that, but you just have to understand what you're getting. But I look at the technology, especially with crypto. I look at the technology. You just said it best. I want to believe in the company. Yeah. I want to believe, like AIK, we were just talking about, I want to believe in the company. They're doing some crazy stuff with cancer research right now. They're doing a conference or whatever tomorrow. Yeah. Hopefully we're balling out of control after this.
They're using psychedelic mushrooms in medicine, and I think that's fucking cool.
Did you guys see the news that California just dropped with
the decriminalizing all mushrooms? Yeah,
that's good.
Oh, and it jumped up like 5 cents that day because of it.
If y'all want to jump into AIKI, if you believe in psychedelic drugs helping out people with mental issues,
PTSD,
I can tell you right now.
Also, people are in late term cancer treatments.
I think that's the future too. So I mean, we're in.
Yes, I mean, and like once again, I need to believe in what I'm buying, and I used to be a part of a couple groups that are like, buy this, buy that, and like I would buy and sell, and I would get so pissed off because like I'd lose money on something, and I like people ask me, well, what is that? And I couldn't tell them what the fuck it was.
Yeah, dude. That's how it was at the beginning of this year when the market was going crazy. I started looking at like some of the portfolios and things I was investing in. I'm like, I don't even know what this company does.
I have no idea what this is.
I know their technicals look good, but I don't really know, you know, I don't know the underlying business. I guess that's probably why you like real estate and why you like investing around Lee Summit is because you can go to it. You know what it looks like. You know the renters.
Real estate is real.
Yeah,
I can touch it. I can put my hands on it. I can put a valuation on it.
Yeah.
I can, what I love about it is I can have a direct impact on the value of that property.
For sure.
Right.
Yeah,
You know
yeah.
what I mean, I love that. And if
You want it to be more valuable?
Value add.
Redo the kitchen, redo
Yes.
the bathroom,
Yes.
whatever it may be. Yeah.
100%, and I do that a lot. I'll buy outdated properties and I'll put 10 grand in, you know, paint and new carpet, or, you know, that's actually, I don't know why I said that. I never have carpet. I've hardwood.
Yeah. But not actual hardwood either, right? Like some LVL.
Yes, of course. It's cheaper, but like with the carpet, you got it when a new renter comes in, you got to change it out because they had a dog that pissed on it or whatever. You do the.
You want some softness, buy rug.
Yeah.
Do you? So you mentioned that you were a fan of bigger pockets.
Yeah.
Do you burr strategy those? Do you?
What is a burr strategy, Kyle, for our listeners, dude? You're throwing up these vocab terms. Help us out.
Buy, remodel, rent, and then
Refinance.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
And here's why. I love the method. It's just, I just don't do it. So with me fighting, I can get fairly large injections of cash at sometimes.
Yeah.
When I do that, when I get those cash injections, I buy property. Like whatever comes in, I'll buy property.
For sure.
Right. And I'm just going to keep buying. As long as that cash comes in.
You want the equity.
Yes. I'm going to keep buying. I'm going to keep buying. I'm going to keep buying.
And you don't have a problem with the down payment.
Correct.
Yeah.
So the down payment is no issue for me right now. But when I stop fighting, when I'm done fighting, that's when I'll do the last R, which is refi.
Yeah.
So now I'll have all this money. The money is there.
You can refi every one of these properties.
Correct.
For sure. Yeah.
Because I have good cash. The cash needs to get spent somewhere. So if I don't spend it on this house, I mean, I have the cash, just it's in the house. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
And I just keep it in the house because if not, I'll probably spend it on dumb shit. So I am just waiting until I'm done fighting for those cash injections to stop. And then whenever I kind of pull back a little bit, then I can start to refi.
Yeah. You like, I know you own Airbnbs and you own traditional rentals.
Yep.
Which one you like better? You told me you're making bank on that Airbnb.
The Airbnbs do really well, man, but they can be a lot of work. And if you don't have, if you get stressed easily, or if you don't have a lot of free time, it can be.
You self-manage these proproperties too.
I manage
the key.
every single property.
Is the key here, right?
I don't want to give up another 10%.
Right.
Yeah. I don't want to. I mean, do that. If you have a $100,000, you're giving up 10 grand. You know, I don't want to do that.
How much? How many doors do you have?
13 or 14, I think.
Really?
Yeah, 13.
You're almost to the point where you could probably start your own property management company.
I've actually looked into it. Yeah.
Yep. Because then that would solve two problems.
I have somebody that I pay hourly right now to do the bookkeeping and sometimes they'll collect rent and stuff like that. So they kind of help me co-manage it. But yeah, it's not.
Do we know this person?
You do.
Is it Elle Wagman?
It is. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, it is. She's awesome. She does a great job.
She's
dude, Elle's the
man.
best person.
She's a grinder too, man.
She's
a grinder.
And a hell of a fighter to go with her.
She is. She can scrap too.
That's awesome, man. We have some fun stories with Elle, of course, and just for the listeners,
Elle used to
work for Supplement Superstores, and we used to actually work together in Springfield, and I used to go to her fights back then, and we're talking like the some of the old places you're talking about where the fights were. She was fighting in those for sure.
Oh yeah,
it's awesome.
Oh yeah, she does a great job, and it works out for both of us. You know, she makes a little extra money on the side, and she helps me out with random. It can be random stuff. You know, she'll go collect rent from somebody, or whatever.
I want to talk to you a little bit about what we've basically done here today, guys, is we wanted to give you guys a good insight about somebody who's doing stuff at a high level. What are their habits like? You know what I mean? And so everybody that we've talked to, they're also human. And so I want to get into a little bit about some of the stuff you do, James. Like, let's say right now, you're a father, you're a business owner, you're obviously a professional athlete, and you're coaching. Let's say you just randomly had a Saturday night where you had no responsibilities for a night and you could just do whatever the fuck you wanted. What would you do?
I'd probably watch fights. I mean, they're typically fights.
That's true love.
Yeah, I'm a fan. Like I love my sport.
I went on a 3-hour road trip with James, and I literally had never hung out with him. And so I'm on a 3-hour road trip with James. On the way home, he's on his phone streaming fights when was it? And I think they were Bellator fights.
Yeah.
Right.
I watch them all, man.
Yeah. And you like betting on these fights too. So let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah.
Because you give out betting advice. And I'm like, why am I not just like James knows more than anybody about fighting. I should just listen to every one of his bets and go to the sports book.
So I do a show on ESPN's YouTube channel. It's called, I think the channel is ESPN Sports Betting. I was just on a 10-week streak where I picked 10 weeks in a row of UFC best bets.
Dude, take my money.
Dude, just ask me. Just ask me. And I lost 1 week, and then I came back and won another week, and then now we're on.
So when you say you were on how many fights were you picking it per week?
So they asked what's my best bet.
Yeah. The one that you're like, this is a lock.
Yep.
It's like was it like it's like elimination game for the NFL where people pick like the one win of the week or whatever, right?
Yep.
Same. So just to give.
But I'm on there with a guy named Nick Kalikas who he sets the lines at Circus Sports, so he's an odds maker.
Yeah. So
he's not as good as me though.
Like I said,
shit.
Yeah. No, I love it.
Close.
That's awesome.
He's on the inside and he still doesn't win.
Not even close. I think he's on a bad streak right now. Bad.
I love it, man.
Jeez, man.
Another human fact about you. So we were talking about all this investing and stuff, but let's get into some of the dumb shit you've bought because you like nice things. You know what I'm saying?
What do you hold on a second? And this is something else that I'm really passionate about. So what do you consider dumb shit?
When I say dumb shit, I mean like you once told me I'm going to buy something stupid when we were talking about cars.
Yeah.
And I was like, stupid as in like we can't really rationalize this from an investment standpoint, but it was just too cool to pass up. So that's why I want to talk about it. It's like, because there's a lot, put it this way, you and I, everybody in this circle right here, we hit over 30 years old and what you think is cool completely changes.
Oh, definitely.
And so, but that's not what got us excited about grinding so hard,
Yeah.
So I got to be honest with myself and say, dude, what's going to inspire a 23-year-old Jeff right now? And it's certainly not, hey man, I refinanced my house.
Yeah.
So like, unfortunately that shit
bought
would
some
never
more Bitcoin.
Yeah, dude.
I think the problem is though, is like, as a 23-year-old, I don't know if you're supposed to know what gets you stoked. I think that's part of what's being a 23-year-old is figuring that out.
You just got to put something on a pedestal to keep you working hard. Because I told myself I wanted to have a rooftop deck, for example, when I was 23 years old, and I made myself a rooftop deck.
So we're talking about the stupid purchase, which
straight
is
up materials. Yeah,
maybe we're talking about stuff that is going to depreciate.
But
that's
that stupid purchase I made is now worth 20 grand more than I paid for it.
See, that's not stupid.
Yeah. There's nothing stupid about it in my head. I wish I'd have bought it.
I really try. I try my best. So like one of the things that gets me excited is to be able to have really, really nice shit for free, or to make money.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So like for me, for example, cars are like the #1 depreciating asset, right? I have 2 cars. I have a Audi S8, 2017 Audi S8, and I have a 2015 Porsche GT3.
RS for those that are listening. That's a baller one.
It's not an RS.
It's not an RS. That's my bad.
No, it's not. I wish it was. It's still nice. That car is worth about 20 to 25,000 more than I paid for it, and I just bought it 6 months ago.
And just to go back on your point, dude, a lot of that's because of inflation.
It's the market and anything high end right now. The market and watches. No, watches are another thing that I really, really enjoy. Like I bought a watch. I bought a Rolex. It's called a Batgirl. It's a Jubilee band with the black and blue dial.
Batman.
It's a Batgirl. The Jubilee is called a Batgirl.
Got it. Okay.
Yep. The Batman would be the
presidential band.
The regular band. Yep.
Yeah.
I paid $9,700 for that, and I just sold it a couple months ago for $17,000.
Right.
That's crazy, dude.
And I had it for 4 months.
I bought a watch, the GMT Master 2 for $7,500 like a couple of years ago, and right now I see them going for $14,000, and you're just like, what in the hell is going on?
All day. So I like that. For me, that stuff really gets me going. Is like the stuff that I can have. Oh, I can have a Rolex for free. Like, okay.
Yeah.
Like, or I can drive a Porsche and make money on it. Oh, and by the way, I also am one of my best friends in the car dealership, so I don't have to pay sales tax, and I don't have to pay for insurance either. So that helps also.
Introduce me to that guy. Yeah. That's crazy.
So I'm an investor in the car lot. So I'm part owner of the car dealership, and I don't, I get a dealer tag. And
So what we've learned is that James is very calculated in all things that he does.
I really try my best not to do dumb shit. Like when we're talking about stupid, I have them, and I'm sure I can think of some, but I don't. When you said at 30 things changed, and at 30 they changed to me, and I have a really hard time buying shit that's not gonna
make you money.
Make sense,
or either make me money or be free. Like the Audi is not going to make me money, but I will sell it for what I paid for it 8 months ago.
Right. If you lose even, 10 grand on something that's a major purchase.
Yeah.
See, you paid 10 grand to drive something for a few years. Not a big deal.
Yeah. I think I bought it 6 or 8 months ago, and I will sell it for exactly what I paid for it. I'm going to sell it back to my friend because he knows he can get more for it.
He can flip it and
I
give
got
it to
it at
somebody
auction
else.
price. Yeah.
Tell me, is there something, do you have a materialistic item in your head that you're just like, dude, this is something that keeps me motivated. I definitely want to buy this someday.
The gold star of material type
top
things.
of the top.
Not really.
Is it the property? When you're talking about like having a compound of some sort, maybe?
Yeah. So we talked about this before. Like I live on the lake right now, and like if I were to move, I would buy like some land. And there's always been like I have guys coming in from all over the world to be here. So it's always been cool to me to have like maybe like let's say like a barn, like a finished barn, or another property where people can stay.
Yeah.
But
like a bunkhouse type.
Yeah,
thing.
I would make money on that though.
Yeah.
I would make money on that though. So like
they need a place to stay. They might as well be paying you.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
How many acres?
However many, I don't, you know what I mean? Like it doesn't have to be huge, but just have like 2 separate living areas where I can have my space, and then maybe like a lake or some type of community or pool community area in between, almost like it's like I say, a compound, almost like a small little neighborhood for fighters that are in town. I don't really have like an amount of, I don't know, I love where I live now, but if I were to move, that would kind of be what I would look for. Have a little bit of land to be able to, ride like a razor around, or you know what I mean.
You can
like,
take your, your top people that work for you at Glory and have them out there as well.
Yeah,
and
something like that.
Treat them good.
But I love where I live. I live in Lakewood right now, around the lake. I love that. I love that spot.
That lake's gorgeous.
Yeah, I was about to say, I saw a picture that you guys took on your back porch, and it looked freaking beautiful.
I love it. It's great. I live right on the water.
I have a pond in my backyard. It's nice having like some. I don't know if you guys fish that.
I just caught a nice bass last night.
Did you?
Sure.
Yeah.
I saw that fish, dude. It was massive. What was you think, 10 pounds?
No.
Dude, it's a bass.
It's huge.
That would be a world record bass.
Dude, I thought you could get a 10-pound bass.
3 to 4 pounds is pretty big. Oh, that's awesome.
You held it correctly. I could see you held it up to the camera nice.
I didn't weigh this one. I know. I didn't weigh this one. Man, I got it. I'll show you after, but I didn't weigh this one, but if I had to guess, I would say between 6 and 8 pounds.
No shit.
I'll show you the picture of it. And you can be the judge of it.
When we put this on social and we let everybody know that we had James Krause on the podcast, we're
gonna
have
the
fish pick is going to be this man was on our podcast.
Everybody tune in, listen to our fish commentary.
Wait, I'll show you after. Don't forget. I'm gonna spend the rest of the podcast
looking for fish pictures.
So we got one question we like to ask all of our guests.
No. I got one question before this.
No, you're good.
Who do you think would win in a fight, me or Jeff? And how do you think I would be?
This is a great question. It's a great question.
Did we have a background? Did you guys wrestle or anything?
I wrestled
in elementary school.
I wrestled till I was a junior in high school.
Never mind.
Do either one of you guys run?
I have more than me.
I am far more cardio in shape than Jeff.
It's true. He does CrossFit, dude. He's absolutely got lungs. He's got lungs for days.
That helps. Any wrestle, that helps, man. I don't know, Jeff.
I got a broken hand, dude.
Oh,
if I hit him in the face, I might.
Well, that evens it out then. I don't know.
But I would just slap him. You know what I'm saying? Like all I need to do is slap him.
To the untrained eye, they'd all pick Kyle, but I play dirty, dude. I'd find a fucking
Jeff
way.
would definitely hit me in the nuts.
I would find a way.
100% true.
I'd die trying.
Listen, we're gonna get his opinion because he's
you guys
10
need to come
weeks
to the
in
gym.
a row.
You guys need to come to the gym and grapple for a 5-minute round and see who wins.
This will happen.
If you hit my hand, it will literally.
How did you break your hand?
Me. I don't even want to tell you because I'm embarrassed telling you. Okay.
But you're going to tell him anyway.
I'm going to tell him anyway. You know those fucking machines that are in all the bars? That are like the punch machines?
You shouldn't have told me.
You broke it on a knockout game? You never told me that shit.
Dude, I was like,
You missed? Did you miss or did you punch through it?
No, listen. I was like 21 years old. All right, shut up. I was like 21 years old. I had just gone back to my hometown.
Wait, this isn't recent?
This is like 10 years ago.
Oh,
no, this is actually 12 years ago. But dude, I have like a callus build up to where if you hit it or touch it, it literally will like shoot shockwaves up my arm.
Mine's the same. Mine's the same.
You're just not a bitch like me.
Dude, your shit's still swollen, James. Holy shit.
Dude, what is your hand? That thing is a mitt. That is not a hand. Look at that thing.
Okay, so James Krause's right hand is a baseball glove.
I feel bad even complaining about that after looking at your hand.
No, I know what you're talking. I have the same thing. You hit it wrong with a weird angle, it shoots tinglies up your arm.
So yeah, I was back in my hometown and this dude was just at me. He's like, dude, I can hit this thing harder than you. And I was like, dude, shut the fuck up. And I eventually hit it. And as soon as I hit that thing, I held out my hand and I go, I just broke my hand. I knew instantly I broke my hand. I woke up the next day completely black and blue. And I was 21. I didn't have health insurance. I was just like, yeah, shit'll buff out. And it never did.
Here we are 15 years later.
It never did.
Hey, so
the moral of that story is go to the hospital if you break your hand.
Did you beat the kid in Wichita when you played him?
I don't even remember.
Do you remember your score that you got? That you broke your hand on?
If you didn't remember,
I've only hit a machine like that one time, and this was it.
Oh,
you did this one time?
Yes.
It wasn't even like a streak of back and forth.
No,
not even a best of 7.
I hit it as
just
hard.
a fucking one punch. Fucking.
I hit it as hard as I could, and it was like. Instantly, I knew. I was like,
to be clear, at the time, Kyle was a bouncer and was like curb stomping people in the streets of Springfield.
I was like 260.
He had it coming.
He's like, give me my money or else.
Yeah, no, I was a tank.
He was 260 at the time. Sorry. So much on a lighter.
Anyways, I beat you. Let's go to. We're gonna go to glory. I'll wrestle you even with broken hand.
We'll put that on video. That's fine.
Yeah.
I'm shifty, dude. I don't give a what.
I'm shifty.
I'm fine. I'll take the underdog card on this. So we got one last question. I already know your answer because we've eaten there and you love it. But Kansas City is pretty much arguably the most
Jack Stack.
Yeah, there it is.
He said that you were going to say that before he even came over.
I said James Krause is going to freaking get on Jack Stack's dong and talk about how great their food is, and it's good.
Hold on, let's talk, and I'll tell you why. Tell you who's your answer.
I love Q39.
Q39. Okay. Hold on.
Respect.
So if we're talking about from a complete dining experience, Jack Stack is for sure my answer. Now, if you say, hey, let's go to lunch, I would probably say let's go to Q39.
I'm with you.
I like their lunch menu a little bit better. But complete dining experience, I've been to Jack Stack probably once a week since it opened in Lee.
I met you at Jack Stack.
Me
and him were eating there, doing something.
You were showing up with Zach,
and he goes, "Oh, this is James Krause," and I was like, "Dude, I've never met him." And we stood up, and you're like, "What's up, dude?"
He's walking with Zach.
Zach, yeah, you were with Zach.
I have been to Jack Stack no fewer than 100 times.
Let's get what's the regular order? You get the same thing every time, or you mix it up?
If it's Thursday, it's the Hatfield.
That's a sandwich for our amateurs, right?
Yes, it's 2 meat sandwich, and I always get fries and potato salad with a hot barbecue sauce.
Respect on the hot barbecue.
I will say this about Jack Stack. They have, in my opinion, the best wings in all of Kansas City. They're phenomenal.
They have good wings.
We get the wings every time.
Good.
They have good wings. But from
they're like desert-kissed wings, I believe is the name of them.
Yeah. I'm talking about not just the food. The food's incredible. And if somebody said, hey, James, give me one meal to represent Kansas City barbecue, it would be the lamb ribs from Jack Stack. That's what I would force somebody to have. But from complete dining experience, I'm talking about the service,
atmosphere.
Price,
they got fireplace.
Atmosphere.
Nice. Yeah.
I mean, the atmosphere is like what you would go to have like a night. You would take your girl to a nice dinner.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's like it's a nice place. Mm-hmm. I don't think I've ever one time ever. Once again, I've been there no fewer than 100 times. I don't think I've ever had a wrong order. And I don't think I've ever had even subpar service.
No, man, they kill it. I mean, as far as how the restaurant is ran, that family's local, and you can tell how much they care.
Oh, man.
Because all of their restaurants, and I've been to the downtown one, the Plaza one, I've been to the Lee Summit one. I mean,
they're consistent.
They kill
consistently
it on that.
Good.
Like their cornbread is like one of my favorite things.
Amazing.
They don't do cornbread at Q39 anymore, just so y'all know. And so that really ripped a heart out.
Q39 wins on the front of burn ends. Q39's burn ends.
I won't argue that. But even like presentation, the way the food's brought out, like the nice plates and nice silverware, but like Q39 comes out on like a wood slab sometimes. Mm-hmm. It's a nice place and the food is good. But if we're talking about overall dining experience and like dish for dish, Jack Stack.
Yeah.
My pick.
You really sold me hard on this. Now I feel bad about ever talking. Yeah, I'm actually extremely hungry.
Overall dining experience, and it's not even close. If we're talking about food, just the food, it's a little closer. But if we're talking about overall dining experience, I don't think anybody is close to Jack Stack.
Yeah. I'd love for you to talk about Supplement Superstores like you talk about Jack Stack moving forward.
I'd love our employees to talk about.
I am. Everybody, Jack Stack is not sponsoring James yet.
No,
but
not
they
yet.
just need to
Dude,
listen
they
to this.
should.
We're working
For real.
They
man.
need to
You
listen
work
to this
out that
podcast.
deal.
Well, I go in there so much. The manager came in the other day and was like, "You come in here, so I'm just gonna buy you lunch today."
That's fucking cool, man.
that is
Again, it's
awesome.
just one more thing. Like,
Yeah.
all it did was made you double down. Like, that's why I fucking
and I go
love
to
this place.
Q39 a decent amount. Like I love Q39. It's probably my second favorite, strong second. And the ones that get all the credit, like Gates, I think Gates sucks.
Dude, I think the jury's out on all of them now.
Gates
I think they're
is too-
starting to lose it. Like Arthur Bryant's
Bryant's is
I don't
garbage,
even
too.
put him in top 5 anymore.
No, it's not even close.
Have you had Slaps? That's my favorite.
No, I've heard good things about Slaps.
Slaps is it's the opposite of what you just described. The dining experience is like stand in a line and
But
like,
that's okay because that's if you own that though.
Yeah.
Like Q39 kind of has like a real nice feel when you go in there, and then it's presented on a wooden slab.
Yeah.
Like if that's what you are, own it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there's
be one or the other.
Don't give me like a paper towel caddy if you're gonna also like
Yeah.
like have these like nice dining services
Yes.
and so forth.
So and like the overall experience, but like once again, overall dining experience, service, presentation, food, Jack Stack.
Yeah.
I love it, man. So we got some time to talk about barbecue. Let's give you a minute here. Is there anything coming up that you would want people to know about that you would, well, just at least a way to get a hold of you? Let's talk about your Instagram.
Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all that stuff is the James Krause. Yeah, I'm pretty active on all those.
And then as far as if they want to come in for a class or whatever,
Yeah, any one of the locations, Lee Summit, North Kansas City, or Overland Park. That you're more than welcome to, Google it. We're active on Facebook, or just stop by where any of the locations are pretty popular. Lee Summit is Chipman in Maine. Overland Park is 105th and Metcalf.
if they wanted to jump
130 or it's 119th.
119th. No.
Yeah.
No,
Close.
dude, it's way down there. It's like 105th, like 105th. Yeah, it's 105th. It's
Is it?
next,
105th and
it's next to the old Ultimate Sports Nutrition,
I know,
guy.
it's next to the Peanut down there.
Now it's by Teriyaki Madness.
Shit, I'm
which
sorry.
Used to be an Ultimate Sports
Telling
Nutrition.
you where your business is.
That, just for
I was like,
reference.
shit, am I wrong?
Am I
No,
wrong?
that store opened up at the same time as us. We know exactly where.
Oh,
it
nice.
is. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. But moving forward, you guys want to get a hold of James? Go to their website. Go to his Instagram. Go to his Facebook. We appreciate you having on,
Yeah,
brother.
it's been
And
fun.
Yeah,
dude,
thank you for coming, man.
Yeah,
Been
It's been
absolutely
awesome.
awesome getting to know you, man. So we'll talk soon. Appreciate you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.